up for success for your mission command briefs on Monday. The theme of this workshop is going to be overall briefing style and mechanics. This is the last 30%. In the first workshop, we discussed, the criteria, the substance of what we need to cover and how we're going to cover it. This workshop, we're going to talk about how we're going to deliver it. I'm going to start this workshop off with a video. It's going to be, it's a little unorthodox, but I want you guys to have a concrete experience as we transition throughout the remainder of the slides. And then from there, we're going to go over the overall briefing style and mechanics and what we're looking for as far as the audience, who's going to be grading you. And then from there, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get on a platform with an SGL, my fellow constituents, and we're going to provide you feedback on one of your thesis principles, one of your mission command principles, and that should give you comfort. Excuse me, somebody got the hype mic on. Please turn your mic off so we all can hear whoever that is. All right, good deal. I think that's Donnerson. There you go. All right, so without further ado, let's get right to this video. What this is so I'm a sports guy. I like to watch a lot of sports commentary. Okay, don't judge me. It's just who I am. So I pull a lot from. Before I start the video, can you guys hear that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I pull a lot from different resources, but I think sports analysts do a good job of presenting a bottom line up front statement, giving some evidence after that statement to support it, and then from there they provide their own analysis. So I want you guys to look at Stephen A. Smith. We're going to spend about 2 minutes looking at him. Not only look at or listen to the information that he's delivering it, but also look at how he's delivering it and the poise and the articulation that comes with it and the confidence that he uses, and then the energy that he puts into his voice that allows you to pay attention or it pulls you into pay attention easier. Okay, so let me try to fast forward some of this.
There's no sound.
No sound? Can we not hear?
No, I can hear.
1 second. Let's do this again. All right. Stop sharing. I'm going to share one more time. I promise you this worked earlier. I got some people that can attest to that. They can back me up.
Let's go.
We can hear?
Good to go, sir.
Okay, the question is going to be something like, is Tom Brady going to have a Hall of Fame year or whatever? But Stephen A. Smith is going to make his claim. So listen to it.
And Stephen A., I'll start with you. Do you think Brady at 43 is still a franchise quarterback?
I think he will be this season. That's my direct answer to that question. He will be a franchise quarterback this season because I think he has the requisite weapons available to him to cover any mistakes that he makes, to minimize the mistakes that he might normally make because he doesn't have to force anything. Guys are going to be open. Mm-hmm. Godwin and Evans are going to be open. With Braden Howard, they're going to be open. With Gronkowski, somebody's going to be open, and Brady is going to get them the football. And I have profound evidence.
So he made his claim. Now he's about to bring in his evidence
to support my assertion. Jameis Winston. Yes, he threw 30 interceptions. Yes, he should be the reigning defensive player of the year at the quarterback position, considering the fact
So by him bringing up Jameis Winston, that has nothing to do with Tom Brady. However, he's addressing his counter evidence up front. Okay, and you can do that as well throughout your brief. Okay, so he's talking about the quarterback before him, and he's going to present data on Jameis Winston, which is another avenue of bringing in some alternative perspective. That's what you guys got to do.
He's a 30 for 30 guy, giving new meaning to that for us. But guess what? He did throw 33 touchdowns. He did throw 5,109 yards. Jameis Winston. And so I look at that, and I look at a guy like Tom Brady.
Understand what he just did. In his evidence, he brought in data, figures, numbers, empirical information. Always a key thing to do.
Who hasn't thrown more than 13 interceptions in a season in more than a decade, and I look at the requisite weapons he's going to have available to him, those players around him will make him look like a franchise quarterback. Because remember, as I've said to Max on 1,000 occasions, I have never in my life seen a quarterback successful throwing the football to himself. You got to have people to throw the football to. He has that now. And he has those weapons, and I think that he will look like a franchise quarterback this coming season.
And that was his reasoning. So what he did was he made his bold statement and said why. And then from there, he presented some counter evidence. And then on top of that, he presented some evidence with Tom Brady has not thrown this many interceptions in the last 10 years. That's his evidence. OK. And then from there, given these weapons and everything that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have in the receiving core, I believe, and he went and said, this is why he will have a franchise break-in or whatever. This is why he's going to be successful in the next year. Sportscasters do this all the time. Okay, let me stop sharing real quick and pull it on the other one. Sportscasters do this all the time. This is how you need to sound. And how your argument needs to be developed when you are working through your mission command principles, okay? And notice the voice wasn't stumbling and bumbling. He was very confident, very direct with his information. And that's what we want from you guys, okay? Now, as we're waiting for this to load up. So, as a refresher, I pulled up Workshop 1 as well. Let me get to it. All right, we're not sharing. So in Workshop 1, I'm going to keep going. Okay, here we go. Sometimes it freezes, but guess what? We got to keep going. Okay, so for freezes, all right, we should be good now. It's freezing. So in Workshop 1, we talked about. So I got a hot mic. No. In Workshop 1, we talked about your audience, right? It's going to be your SGL, where they're going to have general knowledge of the battle. It's going to be background focused. It's going to be rubric focused. They're going to ask questions, and it's going to be on a one-on-one basis. Okay. After that, we talked about your attention getter, which we're on now. Okay. Your attention getter, understand that this is, is not just a picture. Yes, the picture kind of gets my attention as an SGL, but you want to really bring something that's going to set the scene for your brief, okay? So by doing that, you want to have some type of quote, some type of monologue, handout, or we can't have handouts because we're on virtual platforms. But I don't know why I'm having this. But you're going to have something that's going to enhance and set the scene. And don't be afraid to be too extra with it. All right. We're looking for you to bring that energy, or bring some type of oomph or panache to your discussion. And then from there, you're going to tie in your relevance. What's going on with my laptop? Okay. All right. So after that, I got to keep driving on because the thing's not working. If somebody can take control and click through, that probably help too. Because I don't know. All right. All right. So now we're at the introduction. Okay. That's what you're going to say. Go back. You can go introduction. I don't know what's going on. It's getting a little janky, but it is what it is. Who got control? Okay.
I got you, sir.
Okay, appreciate it. So that's what you're going to go. When you do your introduction, you're going to say that line right there. Okay, just know that. Now, background of the commander. That's what we're asking you right there. Keep it relevant. Talk about past life experiences, transit and military experiences, and transition to the battle. Next slide. Okay, then from there, the battle. We're going to talk about the big picture significance. Have some maps. use our doctrine, unified land operational terms, all that jazz, right? So if the plan was to do an envelopment, say gain initiative, say those words that we've learned in our in offensive, defensive operations, and use that to describe the background of your battle, and then transition to your thesis. Next slide.
Sir, I have a question on that slide.
Yes.
So when you say the maps, do you want us to talk about the map specifically, or just give like an overview of like what are we trying to say?
Great question. What I'm saying is the best way to describe what was going on in the battle is by having a map. Okay. If you have a map now, with kind of like what this has with some figures and with the directions and the terrain and all this stuff, I would tell you that that's the absolute best way to describe a battle analysis. It's got to be on some type of overlay. And there's plenty of products out there where you don't have to create your own. Okay. If you don't have a map, we're not necessarily going to hold it against you, but I'm just telling you right now that a map is kind of what we're looking for. Just giving you the cheat code. And if you don't have one, then that just means you got to work that much harder to paint the picture of what's going on in the battle. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Hey, sir. And I have a question concerning maps as well. I know it's only a single minute going for the overview of the battle, but as we're hitting our topics, if we have a map that adds context to the point we're trying to make, is that allowed instead of just having bullet points up for our argument slides?
That is absolutely allowed. If you feel like you can continue to go and drive home points on the map, you can absolutely use. So we're not going to tell you that you can't, but just understand, be wary of the time, and be wary of what we're asking you to do as far as analyzing the mission command principles. Because what people fall into is the trap of spending so much time on the battle and not analyzing their principles, and now they're losing points on their principles. And I've seen people actually fail because they did a battle analysis and not an analysis on mission command principles. But if your map still can allow you the ability to drive home points within your mission command principles, then absolutely use it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. So now on your thesis, we're spending, let me see, I think I'm back up. I could probably take control now. So, all right, I'm good now. I don't know what happened, but thanks Washington for helping me out. Okay, so thesis. Again, that should be pulled strictly from your paper. All right, clearly identifies and outlines the evaluation of the commander's principle of the commander's performance using those mission command principles. Pulled directly from your paper. Hopefully, your paper's good. Okay, so now we talked about this. This is the meat of your paragraph, or the meal of your mission command principles. Okay, 2 minutes per. You're gonna give me your main idea, and you're gonna give it's the bottom line up front. Then you're gonna give me some evidence, give me some data, some figures, something I can hold on to. You want to at least be 2 examples. Then give me your analysis. I have an example in the future slides of what this looks like. If you can, throw in something from the doctrine. If not, that's cool too. But if you can, and use it to connect with it shows that you've connected with the material and the analysis overall. Okay, and then you're going to transition to your next main point, or your next slide on your briefing. Okay, whatever that principle is going to be. So you got to do that. Again, rinse and repeat. You should be spending about 8 minutes total doing this throughout your mission command principles. And then conclusion, restate your thesis, provide an overall analysis, discuss the lessons learned, and that's it. You should be done. Okay. Then you ask, are there any questions? All right. So that's what we talked about 2 weeks ago. That's our refresher going in. And the takeaways from that was a 16-minute planning timeline. Trust the rubric, flow with the rubric, structure your brief around the rubric. And now you should have picked your examples before, but if you haven't, then you kind of got to go with what you go with. But that was it. Okay, so now we're moving into workshop number 2. Should be coming up. I don't know what's going on here again. So, I don't know. Maybe somebody can take control again. I don't know what's going on. All right. I don't know. I guess let's get back. Let's get to slide 15 if you can. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so working agenda for this workshop, we're going to talk about presence, communication. Understand that you are going to have to respond to questions, and then we'll hit on the basis of slideology and what we're looking for. I'll give you an example of the mill format, and then we'll go over questions, okay? Again, style and mechanics is 30% of your grade, which means that if you get up here, you can have all the accurate information. But if you get up here and you're just jacked up when it comes to your delivery, the highest you can possibly end up with just a 70. Okay, which this is 100 points, and this can that can affect where you stand in the class tremendously. And if you don't care about that, then you at least have understood that you cheated yourself out of an opportunity to get better when it comes to delivery. That's 1/3 almost of the importance of everything we do as officers, and it's 1/3 of this brief. Okay, next slide. Let me see. Maybe I can pull it. So this next slide will be coming up. When it comes up, we should be talking about presence, okay? So let me see real quick. Presence is one. First off, we want you to have some professional attire on. We're not requiring you to throw the uniform on. We're not even necessarily requiring you to freaking, 100% be clean shaven and all that stuff, depending on your grade. I don't know. I know I'm not. Because I'm rocking my quarantine goatee because I'm on strike until we go back into the building. That's just me, unless I absolutely have to. We are still expecting you to be in professional attire. Don't be in some tank top stuff, or don't be in some stuff that doesn't necessarily quite drive with the work environment. Okay, don't be wearing inappropriate t-shirts and all that stuff. All right, and then also language. Okay, language is a big deal. Now, getting to the more important part. Start strong. So you see my picture with Usain Bolt, right? He's no ASU or shower shoes. ASUs and shower shoes is good joke. ASUs, we wouldn't see the shower shoes anyway on the platforms, and maybe you can get away with that. But at least a professional top. But moving on, I got Usain Bolt up here signifying start strong. Okay, I will tell you that we human too as SGLs, and the better you start off, the better position you are for a successful grade. Okay, you gotta have a strong start. If you start off at a 100, then you're probably going to trickle yourself down to a 98, 97 because we're believing in you. But if you're not making me believe in you and you're starting off at an 80, it's going to be hard for you to get to that 95, 96, 97 area because you got to, first off, I got to overcome not believing in you. I got to spend like 4 minutes trying to make you believe me. I got to spend 4 minutes trying to believe you. And then, then I got to evaluate what you're saying. So make me believe early, okay? And the way you do that is by having your strong attention getter really, really have a good, solid introduction. You shouldn't be stumbling on your name, right? That's your name that you've had all your life. So you shouldn't be stumbling through that piece. And then if you give me some good background of the battle, background of the commander, background of the thesis, I'm like, man, just to be honest with you, it is how it is. I'm like, man, this sounds like, I'm not sure, but at least right now, this sounds like a 98. And then I'm going to really dive in and I'm really focused on your mission command principles and what you're telling me. If you start off weak, just letting you know, you gotta really bring it in home. You gotta make me believe because, if you don't, your grade's just going to be that much. It's just going to be lower. It's not going to be the best that it could possibly be. And then, again, your delivery is key. Be confident. Sit there with a good pose. So what I'm about to do, I'm going to turn my camera on real quick. So, you really want to position yourself right in front of your camera. You really don't want to be kind of like off to the side. You don't want to be leaning back like this. That's not necessarily professional or whatever. You want to really get right there, just like how Stephen A. Smith was. Get right in front of your camera, have your good body position, shoulders back, chest out, and really deliver this information, okay? Look at The Rock, right? When he does his monologues, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, you believe, okay? I believed, at least as an 11-year-old kid, okay? That's the presence piece. And say, okay, after you get past the good morning, all that stuff or whatever, then he's going to say, all right, proceed with or he or she will say, okay, go ahead and proceed with your presentation or whatever they say. From there, you're going to get right into your attention getter, all right, whatever it may be. And then from there, you'll say, good morning, such and such. I'll be giving an unclassified information brief on the battle of this. The purpose of this brief is to, evaluate the mission command principles in the court, whatever that line, whatever that paragraph says. Okay, that's kind of the flow of what we're expecting. Okay, so you're going to get to your attention getter first, and then do the introduction in accordance to kind of what that paragraph that I kind of laid out into in the first the briefing workshop. Okay, does that answer your question?
Okay, so I'm not necessarily saying anything for attention getter. I'm not like singing something to you.
Yeah, you absolutely are. You absolutely are. Your attention getter is going to be, your picture followed by, a quote or a quote monologue. It's going to be something like that. Yeah, something to grab the attention to set the tone for the brief. After you do the attention getter, you're going to say, this was, or imagine this. You got to tie into the relevance of the battle. Or the commander or whatever, because it should be relevant to what the commander is. You're going to tie in that, and then you're going to get into your introduction. Good morning, I'm Captain such and such. I'll be giving an unclassified information brief on yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you absolutely, that's where you're going to be doing, whatever your approach is for that attention getter, yeah. So
okay. A quick question for you.
Yep.
That's all right. So we're kind of talking about presence, being confident in the way you are, and I noticed it with you, and I tend to do it myself where I talk with my hands. And I know it's even more noticeable in a digital environment. And I guess, is there an issue with that? Is it just ensuring that you're not doing it so much that it's distracting? What's your take on that?
Okay, so absolutely don't do what I'm doing right now, right? You don't want to be, here, all this stuff, right? Now I'm doing that when I'm teaching the class because I can do that a little bit more. But when you're giving a brief, right, an information brief, you want to kind of maintain that. Now you can have some points to help you drive on and be, you see what I'm doing right now with my camera. You can be here with the here and there, come back. You can, kind of explain. I know some people do the thumbs up thing or whatever, first point, second point, third point. That can enhance. The moment you get here and get too animated and all this stuff right here, that's when it's distracting. Okay, so use it at your discretion. Use it at your discretion. It's not something that you want to 100% leverage on to the point where it's distracting. But the good thing about this virtual setting is that you can see yourself on the camera. And if you can see yourself like I'm looking at myself right now, you can say, you can make a mental note and say, oh, I need to calm down, relax, because you can see what you look like, right? As opposed to doing it in person. So if you feel like you're doing too much with your hands, then you probably are. Okay. But it's going to be up to the SGL's discretion of what they feel about it, honestly. But for me, and I know we got some more here, it's got to be just the right enough to make the point, and enhance what you're saying, but not enough to be distracting. Okay. So use your discretion.
Roger that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else before we move on? All right. Next slide. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can still do it. Okay. So communication, right? Understand we got two forms, nonverbal and verbal. Okay. Uh-oh. What happened? Can you pull up? I don't know what just happened. As I'm talking, nonverbal and verbal. Nonverbal, we're referring to eye contact. Okay, so what that means, yes, we still require eye contact on these virtual platforms. Look into the camera. I can tell when you're reading off a freaking script and not looking, looking into your camera. At least you got to be a little bit more discreet, right? I can tell if you're looking, if you got your notes over to the side, I can tell that you're reading off, another computer or your notes, or if you're looking down the whole time or something like that. you're not maintaining good eye contact, and that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you in your brief. So do your best to look at the camera, rehearse in front of the camera, try to get comfortable in front of that camera. If anything, if you can't look at the camera, then look at the SGL in the virtual scene, because it's going to at least appear like you're looking at the camera. And if you can't do that, then look at yourself. If you can't do that, then you I don't know what to tell you. You gotta figure it out, okay? Or look at your screen or whatever. But look, try to maintain good eye contact, and again, body positioning is key. We're not leaning back, and we're not doing the brief with our feet up, or none of that stuff. We're not doing that. Keep good, nice, tight body position, like you're jumping out of an airport, right? Whoever's airborne, they know what I'm talking about. Okay, verbal. Watch your pace. Watch your tone. Slow down. Don't try to extend the time and talk all slow, right? Don't try to, shorten the time if you feel like you got a lot of information, or control your nerves. Keep a nice, good pace, okay? Again, you are naturally going to go faster during this brief, and that's fine, okay? But as long as you can have a conversational tone, you should be fine. Also, understand voice inflection. People can understand, or people can follow along easier when you are bringing more energy and personality into your brief. The way you're able to do that is by rehearsing, okay? You can hear the influx of my voice right now. You can tell that I'm talking to you, okay? But if I was to sit here and just talk like this, and you can tell, too, when somebody's reading off of something. But if it sounds like I'm just like, yeah, good morning, this is my mission command brief, and I'll be briefing on – look, that's going against your overall style and mechanics, okay? And the funny thing is, if you are not prepared and you think you're just going to be able to write everything you're going to say and not rehearse it, and it's going to sound like you're reading, understand that's going to affect your pace and your tone. You can tell that you don't have the personality into it. So rehearse, and prepare yourself. Now, you can write out your script and you can read it a whole bunch of times and to the point where it's coming from you and it's natural and you can put your own personality into it. That's fine. That's okay. I do that myself. Okay, I do that myself. But if you just reading straight off of a freaking script and it's not, and the pace is a little off and it doesn't sound like you're really talking to me, it sounds like you're reading to me, or you're just getting it over with, then I'm going to dock points from that, and so are the other SGLs. Also, too, rehearse. Filler words. Uhs and uhs. Those are always going to be distracting, okay? Don't get up here stumbling and bumbling. Also, watch your favorite filler words, too. Basically, or one thing, watch your transitional phrases. Everybody, some people say, one thing to note. Once it starts getting repetitive, you got to take that stuff away. Likes, so's, all those different things. Rehearse. Find somebody in the class. If I was you guys, I'd find a battle buddy and rehearse in front of them 2 or 3 times and critique each other. But you're only going to be able to do that if you're prepared and you don't wait to the last minute. And the same thing with rehearsing. So that's going to be the strategy of how you're going to tackle mastering nonverbal and verbal communications. Are there any questions thus far? I don't think so. Okay. Moving on. Responding to questions. SGLs are required by rubric to ask you a question. Okay. Expect a hardball question. You might get a softball one. You might get a hardball question. Let me tell you right now. If you come to me, I'm probably is at least going to be a medium question that's going to require you to think. Okay. Also, timing for questions is dependent on the SGL. Some will tell you, like me, I will tell you up front, I'm going to hold all my questions to the end, so you don't have to worry about it while you're briefing your material. You can go ahead and just brief and understand that a question is going to happen. Now, the SGL, understand that they ask you a question at the end, that question is probably going to require you to think. It's probably going to be a little harder. If they ask you a question during your brief, you're probably going to get easier questions. So just be prepared. That's just kind of how it works. Key thing here, answer with precision. Okay. I don't want to hear all this tap dancing stuff. Okay. Is you is or is you ain't? All right. Let me know. You need to give me your thoughts long enough to cover the subject, or answer the question short enough to keep it interesting. Okay. Give me a precise answer. I don't want to hear about all this other stuff because you're trying to think of it in your head about what's the best answer. Give an authentic answer. Give you a hint. It's your brief. It's not mine. It's not ours. It's your brief. You did the research. You did the homework. I did not. I might know some background or whatever, but I'll tell you, if you answer with confidence, at least 80% of the time, it is what you say it is. It is what you say it is, okay? That being said, don't worry about trying to find the best answer possible. If you can give me something confident, I'm probably not going to fact check. You might have something that will, but I'm going to tell you that, as long as it's confident and you make me believe, okay, we're good to go, okay? Any questions on questions? I think we're good. Okay, slideology. You want your brief to flow, right? Have a consistent visual style. All right. Think about how viewers' eyes move around a slide. Okay. There's got to be some type of sequential order. Okay. They might notice the biggest and brightest elements first. Then they might move to other side of them. So we just don't know. Okay. That being said, it's cool to have contrast on your slides too. If there's something that you really want to drive home, especially you got numbers or something like that, it's cool to highlight that. It's going to make it stick out and say, oh, okay, like that's going to draw my attention. I can focus on that. Okay. In addition to that, have some white space on your slides, right? Just like how I have these slides kind of structured. Avoid too many words. We don't want words. Okay. Yeah. We want some points to drive to drive home, and I can follow along on what you're saying. I don't need all these words. Okay. I like pictures. Pictures say 1,000 words, right? So that's enough right there in conjunction with a few bullet points to really drive home what you're telling me, okay? And then in addition to that, it's very distracting if your slides are inaccurate. You got misspellings, you got different fonts, you got different sizes and all that other stuff. Or if it's just too much, it becomes distracting. And we can gig you on that too, because that's part of your professional presentation, okay? Any questions on slideology before we move forward?
I have a question, sir. So when you're doing the slides, right, do you prefer to have like something coming from this side of the screen and this side of the screen, like pictures or like a video or something like that? Don't do that.
So as far as how they're going to click or appear on the slide, it's cool to kind of bring bullet points up one by one if you want. I wouldn't do all the whizzies and the spins and turns because it's going to take away from the professionalism of your brief. You're probably not going to do that in your MD&P brief. But what you might do if you got a map, right? You might have a map, and then if you want to look, talk about where something is in reference to a map, you might do another click, and then that pops up. Do another click, and then that part pops up. Something like that. That's cool. I think that adds to the value. Understand that you don't want to do too many distractions with the whizzes and the special effects and the peers and all that stuff. Unless it's on your attention getter. If you can wow me on your attention getter, that's cool. But other than that, let's try to stick to something that's basic and simple. But you can include some animations, like, doing some stuff one by one if it's going to enhance or if it's going to allow you the ability to have a good flow to your brief. You can. Again, it's one of those things where it can't be too distracting, just like your hands and just like, answering questions. You don't want to be all over the place, okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving forward. All right. So this is an example of your meal and how it should be. This is from the Battle of Resheva. Just a quick disclaimer. This is what your brief should sound like. This is not what your slides should look like, right? Main point, Chetwood accepted risks throughout the battle to protect his force to achieve tactical and operational proficiency. That's your main point, right? Your evidence, we got numbers in here. I'm not going to read it all, but we got some numbers in here, and two examples that sound pretty good, okay? Then we got the analysis. Chetwood only had 24 hours of water. He sent his swiftest troops, but protected them as much as he could. He assumed risk and captured 15 or 17 wells. He's given the impact of that risk taking that Chetwood took throughout the battle. Okay, what was the impact? And then he gives a counterpoint. It could be suggested that Chetwood's charge succeeded because he was up against a poorly trained enemy and then we're going to link that with our Lincoln sentence, right? However, it was his ability to accept risk and communicate via mission orders, which gave his troops the advantage throughout the battle. So mission orders would follow as the next mission command principle in this case, okay? So if we were to read this as part of our brief or whatever, not when I say read, like if we were to hear this as part of our brief, that's what a mission command principle would sound like. It would take 2 minutes to get through all this material. If we read it verbatimly, if we briefed it verbatimly, it would take about 2 minutes. That's what we're looking for, okay? Again, your slide shouldn't look like this because it's a lot of words, but this is what the flow of what we're asking for. That's what we want, okay? Any questions on this?
Hey, sir, Kevin Owens. I do have one question. So I understand that this slide is not what we want our slides to look like, but I think I'm kind of struggling with how I want to format my slide for each of the mission command principles. So like right now I have the mission command principle as at the very top as the title of the slide. Then I have the 2 bullet points are strictly just strict examples, very brief, strict examples of how my commander failed to execute that, and then like a picture. So does that like meet the intent? Or is there any sort of other format that we're looking for?
No, I recommend that's probably the best way, honestly. It's probably the best way right there. So you got your mission command principle, how you have you a picture that adds value to that, and then have your 2, you present your evidence as your bullet points, and that's it. That's really all you need. And probably have a counter, have your counterpoint, put there too, maybe. But really, that's all you need.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sir, I have one more question. So when we're briefing and we start off with Lieutenant Colonel such and such, do we have to say throughout the brief Lieutenant Colonel such and such, or we can just say the name?
You can just say the last name. It's fine. It's all up to you. We're not really that specific, honestly. Nobody's gonna take off for that. Okay. That's fine. Anything else?
This is Captain Castro. I have a question. Where I can find the slide that you're looking at? On Blackboard or what else?
So we can post these to Blackboard, but really, you're already, well, I guess you're a guest, so you won't be able to view. Well, I guess your SGL can pull it and send it to you. It doesn't matter. It's not. You can get it. Just get with your SGL. They should take care of you. They should be able to get it for you. Anything else?
Right.
Okay. Key takeaways. Check it out. Rehearse. Okay. 15 to 18 minutes, no more, no less. If it's less, then you're going to get 5 minutes deducted. If you come in at 14:58, 14:59 by rubric, we are obligated to take 5 points from you. So being 1 second short of 15 minutes is going to hurt you. Okay. And if you come in at 13:58, we're obligated by the rubric to take 10 points from you because you're in the 13s now. So we got to subtract that. So that's how that works. You go above 18 minutes at 18:01, we cannot listen to anything that you say and count it and give credit for it. Okay. Your brief starts when it starts with your attention getter, hopefully, unless you fail to do an attention getter. It's going to start when you first start talking. That's when the clock's going to start. It's going to end when you ask, are there any questions? That's when it ends. So questions are not a part of your time limit. Okay. Don't bank on that. Know your briefing platform. Hey, I recommend that, you do Microsoft Teams, even though I know we kind of had some, iffies there. But if you do Microsoft Teams, I think when you transition throughout the course, you're going to be briefing on Microsoft Teams anyway. So you might as well get used to it. Unless, hopefully we can go back soon, but just plan if we don't. There will be, in respect to rehearsing, there will be no excuse for filler words. Okay. If you rehearse long enough, like science says that, it's going to reduce your amount of filler words. Now, you're going to have some, I got it. But when it comes to distracting, there's no excuse. Nobody's going to hold back on that. So rehearse. Proof your slides. Make sure that everything's accurate. Flow with the rubric again. Now, this is my favorite one. Everything has a purpose. Everything coming out your mouth has a purpose. Okay? every single sentence is tied to a category on the rubric. So there shouldn't be no extra stuff. You already have been given the full template of how you are structuring your brief. You're simply filling in the blanks. So everything from your attention getter, that's part of the rubric. How you introduce yourself is part of the rubric. How you go through and what you should be saying about the background of the battle, background of the commander, and your thesis points is part of the rubric. When you get into your mission command, your principles, you have a whole category for everything that you say that comes out. So say it, okay? Follow that entire template that we went over, all right? And then lastly, bring the energy, okay? It's you versus them. It's you versus me. Make me believe. I want to believe. Give it to me, okay? Give me that energy. I got to hear 5 of these anyway. If you number 4 or 5, like, I'm tired. I really don't want to listen to another 15 minutes about a battle and grade somebody and all that stuff. So it's like watching, you know, a freaking Netflix series with your wife, and you're not freaking interested at all in it, and she's loving it, and you got to do it anyways because that's just part of what, you know, you should do. All right. But the better your delivery is and your energy is, that's going to tie me in, and I'm in a better mood to grade you. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. So bring the energy. Bring it. Are there any questions?
One last question.
Yep.
This is Captain Ballard. You used a video during this instruction. Is there a way that you can explain how you did that, just in case we want to use that as an attention getter?
Oh, use the video?
Correct.
Yeah. All you got to what you need to do is you can share your screen. So you're not going to embed it on this. You could probably, you know, get with your SEL, maybe create another team. But really, the best way I think that you can do it is if you share your screen, share your desktop, and have YouTube or something already pulled up, and then just play it. But what you do is you got to click the button that says include system audio. So I recommend getting on with somebody and rehearsing how you're going to do that. But if you have a video pulled up on your desktop, right? So like right now, I could share my desktop with you, and right now you should be looking at, you know, you're looking at, you know, the schedule for Common Core, right? That's what I got pulled up on my desktop. But if I wanted to, I could have a YouTube video already pulled up in the queue, ready to go, and I share it and then I play it. That's probably the easier way from you. I was able to do this because I mean it's my team, and I embedded that into the Microsoft Teams, but that's a little bit more complicated for you to do that one time. I just recommend sharing your desktop. But in order to share your desktop, you got to have the app on your computer. You can't just go by the web.
Okay, roger that. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, sir, this is Captain Martin. But if we have the the video, we had it already embedded in our PowerPoint, it can just get clicked while it's in the PowerPoint to play, right?
Not exactly sure, man. You're gonna have to rehearse that yourself and figure out how you're gonna do that.
Stokes, so coordinating with our SGL, I understand that I'm briefing this person at this time, but is the coordination solely on us? Like, do I let them know I code, I get into the Microsoft Teams, and what time I'll be ready?
I believe SGL should be kind of reaching out to you on Microsoft Teams or whatever platforms. We cross talk amongst each other, and I think we've sent out kind of a roster. We've already received a roster and figured out who is got everybody's accounts and stuff. So they should be reaching out to you guys sometime soon.
Hey, Cap Hickman, Captain Nassau. So students, you should not have to reach out to the SGL. They should be reaching out to you. If you do not hear from them by 1600 tomorrow, let your SGL know, and then the SGLs will work that among themselves. But there's no coordination on your part. You just have to respond to the SGL when they reach out to you.
Anything else?
Sir, I have a question. This is Captain Polzine.
Yep.
For the actual slides, like the way that you had it, like with the U.S. Army, the ALU at the bottom left and everything, is that how you want our slides to be, or can we create something different?
You can create something different. That's one thing that you can kind of use as a template, though. If you want to do that, you can. I mean, it doesn't really matter, honestly, as long as whatever you create is professional and it's not too distracting. It'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one other question. We don't have to cite any of the sources, like the pictures that we got from, right?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Well, I'm not going to hold anybody hostage. This concludes the Mission Command Briefing Workshop number 2. Thank y'all. Good luck to y'all in y'all briefs. At this time, there are SGLs available, and it should be posted in the chat. They'll either post their availability in the chat on what platform, but we could probably move right into. We got Captain Wynn here. We got